Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Transport and Mining, His Worship Leroy Williams, Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay, Bishop Conrad Pitkin, Custos Ruth Tularam for St. James, Anthony Mark Hart, Chairman, Airports Authority of Jamaica, Audley Diedrich, President, Airports Authority of Jamaica, Michael Hepburn, Deputy Director General, Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, Directors and Executives, past and present, Airports Authority of Jamaica and the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, Oral Heaven, President, Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Robin Russell, President, Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Major Webster Williams and other representatives from the Jamaica Defense Force, Mbj concessionaires, airline representatives, and representatives of the various agencies of government, Shane Monroe, CEO of Mbj Airports Limited, other executives, managers, and staff of Mbj, representatives of the media, other invited guests, good afternoon. My name is Sharifa Powell. I am the Acting Chief Financial Officer at Mbj Airports Limited. I take great pleasure in offering a warm and airy Mbj welcome to our biannual Airport Forum. If we were to use a time capsule and return to December 2020, we would be 9 months into the worst global pandemic in a century. By every measure, this event literally grounded air travel. All the projections and extrapolations surrounding the recovery of global air travel declared that we would not experience 2019 passenger numbers until late 2025 into 2026. Yet, here we are in 2022. Sorry. Where are we in terms of recovery today? Stay tuned. Our CEO will provide some insights and statistics into air service development and here at Mbj, and also present to you on the infrastructure developments at the airport, as well as some commercial updates. Additionally, we will also be addressed by the President of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, Mr. Audley Diedrich, and the Minister of Transport and Mining, Honorable Audley Shaw. Mbj Airports Limited has made major strides in managing the airport these past few years. And it is indeed an honor to host you as we share with you, our partners, the highlights of the activities at this airport. The Sangster International Airport remains an important asset to the people of Jamaica. Therefore, it is imperative that the people represented by the government of Jamaica be given an account of our stewardship as operator and manager of the Sangster International Airport. These public sessions are so intended. Therefore, you are encouraged to see our conversation today as one that goes beyond the realm of mere dissemination of information, but a platform for us to have a future-facing dialogue and for your concerns to be addressed. At the end of the presentations, we will field questions from the audience. We invite you to submit your questions throughout the program via WhatsApp at 876-589-7525. I repeat, 876-589-7525. Now, without further delay, we are ready to delve into this afternoon's presentations and update. We will start with an address from the President and CEO of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, Mr. Audley Diedrich.
I am tempted to say all protocols observed, but you only do that when the minister is not in the house. So I will greet our Minister of Transport and Mining, the Honorable Audley Shaw, and stop at that. I hope you accept that. Thank you. I'm not as young as I thought I am, so I have to reach for some assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders all in our aviation industry and the Mbj Airport stakeholders in particular, I greet you all. It is my distinct pleasure to once again address another Sangster International Airport Forum hosted by the airport operator Mbj Airports Limited. It is no secret that the world travel and tourism industry is one that has suffered the greatest setback from the COVID-19 pandemic. It is also well known that these two industries share a symbiotic relationship, and as such, they are interdependent on each other. In fact, they literally feed off of each other. Tourism traffic accounts for over 80% of Jamaica's aviation traffic. Hence, the dependence of our aviation traffic on tourism is even more self-evident. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck Jamaica in March 2020, necessitating the closure of our borders to incoming international traffic, aviation traffic fell precipitously by 99%. You could make that 100 for completion, to almost zero for the 2.5 months to June 2020 when the borders were reopened. Jamaica's pre-pandemic air traffic for 2019 stood at 6.5 million passengers, with SIA, which is this airport, recording 4.7 million, and the Norman Manley Airport, 1.8 million passengers. Given the uncertainty when the pandemic struck as to how long it would last, how it would be contained, and how the travel and tourism industry would respond and function with the presence of the virus, the forecast for the traffic recovery to the 2019 pre-COVID level was put at 5 to 6 years. That is somewhere between 2025 and 2026. In 2020, after a normal first quarter traffic, the impact of the pandemic for the remainder of the year resulted in Jamaica's overall traffic falling by 66% in that year. In 2021, the implementation of various travel protocols supported by testing and later vaccination, Jamaica's air traffic increased further, but still reached only 52% of the 2019 level. This positive sign of recovery, however, encouraged industry players to begin shaving off the expected timeline for the recovery, and therefore place recovery at 4 to 5 years to 24-25. This optimism was stultified at the start of this year, 2022, which got off to a sluggish growth period versus projections. This was caused by a number of factors, such as a new strain of the virus emerging, the Russia-Ukraine war, new US and UK travel protocols, etc. This poor first quarter 22 traffic again gave cause for anxiety in the travel and tourism industry as to what is likely to be the recovery timeline going forward. However, come the second quarter of 2022, a sharp resurrection of the traffic growth began to set in, such that by June 2022, SIA's traffic for that month was almost equaling that of June 2019. And by September 2022, SIA's traffic for the month was 16% above September 2019. NMIA's traffic resurgence lagged a little behind, so it took NMIA up to September of this year to to exceed the September 2019 traffic by 2%. Based on the current rapid recovery phase of our aviation traffic, supported by a corresponding growth in tourism traffic, it is now anticipated that by the end of December, this month, our total airport traffic will recover to approximately 90% of the 2019 level. However, with NMI recovering at a slower pace than SIA, NMI is expected to reach around 86% of the 2019 level, while this airport is expected to reach about 91–92%. With the rapid rate of recovery of our aviation traffic in 2022, it is now safe to forecast that Jamaica's aviation traffic will make full recovery and surpass the 2019 pre-COVID level in 2023. That is a whopping 3 years ahead of the 6-year projection at the beginning of the pandemic. This is both remarkable and encouraging for our travel and tourism industry, and indeed all the stakeholders participating therein. You, our esteemed stakeholders, who put grit, courage, determination, commitment behind the recovery process to allow us to be where we are today. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the airport business has been devastating, especially in its early period during 2020 and into 2021. Mbj at that time approached the AAJ for assistance in response under the force majeure provisions of their concession agreement. The AAJ, supported by the government of Jamaica, responded as far as those measures allowed, and in certain ways going beyond the strict requirements of those measures. Given the limitation of the force majeure measures, to address the more far-reaching and protracted impacts of the pandemic, Mbj, and indeed Pakal, who runs Kingston, submitted proposals to AAJ and the government dealing with the economic recovery and long-term sustainability of the airport business for special consideration. These matters are now being negotiated by a cabinet-appointed negotiating team that's dealing with the matter. While we all welcome the rapid growth of traffic in 2022 beyond our expectations since the COVID-19, it is accompanied by some undesirable consequences. Firstly, COVID resulted in a massive exodus of the workforce across various industries, and the travel and the tourism industry again was most severely impacted by this phenomenon. So while the travel and tourism traffic returned with major vigor, the workforce to support the industry did not follow suit. This creates challenges for various stakeholders in the airport to meet their usual service level standards. Another issue and major challenge that has emerged from the SIA is congestion. Prior to the pandemic, SIA, led by Mbj, supported by the AAJ, were in the process of implementing their latest master plan, which, among other things, would address the congestion that was at the airport from that time. The occurrence of the pandemic and its uncertainties resulted in these plans being halted. However, Mbj continued the implementation of the works that were already started under the master plan program, such as the runway extension and the departure terminal expansion. This part of the terminal extension is now completed for the official opening, which will be dealt with after this ceremony. And the runway extension program, which is very visible from the highway, is at an advanced stage of completion, with final completion now expected by mid-2023. Mbj, supported by AAJ, is on a fast track to resume the other major elements of the master plan program to expand the arrivals concourse of the terminal to include immigration, customs, and the transportation hall. In the interim, Mbj, supported by the AAJ, has been working with PICA, customs, and other entities to ameliorate the congestion problems that has emerged with the massive return of traffic. We therefore call for all hands on deck to support these measures as we enter the busy winter tourist season, coupled with the Christmas season, which is now upon us. The ultimate goal to fully address the congestion problem is to commence the Arrivals Terminal Expansion Program, which is now under consideration for 2023. While the pandemic created a massive setback for Mbj as the operator of SIA, Mbj must be commended for its commitment to its obligations for the operation of the airport and its decision to continue the implementation of the capital program. It is this kind of commitment that has enabled SIA to be rated by the World Travel Awards as the leading Caribbean airport for 2022, which represents 15 such awards to SIA and the 14th consecutive year since 2009. It is due to Mbj's commitment to its obligations, despite the impacts of the pandemic, supported by the AAJ, that its CEO, Mr. Shane Monroe, the CEO of PICA, Andrew Winter, and myself as president of the AAJ, were recently recognized by the Ministry of Tourism's COVID-19 Tourism Recovery Task Force for our roles in the recovery of Jamaica's tourism. Thank you. In closing, it must be commended the Mexican company Gap and Vantage out of Canada for staying the course with Mbj and SIA through the difficult period of recovery from the pandemic. As we look forward to the post-COVID recovery of our aviation and tourism industry, we seize the opportunity to improve the facilities in preparation for the growth ahead. This, as usual, is a collaborative effort between the AAJ, the airport operators, and a wide cross-section of stakeholders in the aviation and tourism industry. Let us therefore look forward and plan together with the expectation to emerge better and stronger post-COVID-19. As we are now in the season of Christmas, I want to just wish for you and your families a safe and happy Christmas and a prosperous new year when it comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diedrich. At this time, I invite Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of... Sorry? Okay, all right. Certainly. I now invite our CEO, Mr. Shane Monroe, to make his presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Minister of Transport and Mining, Audley Shaw, our Custos, and our Mayor, other specially invited guests or VIPs, ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to Montego Bay and specifically to Sangster International Airport. This forum is an opportunity for us to share with you the latest updates on Sangster International Airport, our aeronautical statistics, our projects, and our outlook for the future. Sangster International Airport remains the gateway for tourism to Jamaica and the pearl of Montego Bay in terms of infrastructure development. Since the concession started, Mbj has invested over $280 million in Sangster International Airport, and we continue to do so in spite of the pandemic, because of course we have to ensure that as passengers the passenger traffic recovers, we have the facilities to support an exceptional passenger experience. Our focus for 2022 has been laying the foundation for economic recovery and stability, focusing on safety, security, innovation and efficiency, resilience, developing human capital, environmental and social responsibility, and passenger experience transformation. Mbj remains committed to ensuring that this airport is globally recognized as a leading tourist destination airport, exceeding the expectation of our passengers while being uniquely Jamaican. So, how have we performed year to date? In terms of passenger traffic, as you can see on the screen, year to date, and this is to the end of November 2022, we're just about 8% below 2019. 2019 in the industry is often used as the benchmark because this is the pre-pandemic traffic level. However, compared to 2021, we're actually 76% above last year in terms of passenger traffic. So certainly the recovery in the industry continues. In terms of aircraft movements, it's 11% below 2019, but 37% above 2021. And the variance between passenger and aircraft movement really just indicating that the capacity was there, but the load factors, we are seeing much higher load factors today. In terms of cargo, that continues to lag behind passenger traffic. Passenger aircraft carries the main cargo, is the main vehicle of cargo to US, UK, and Canada, 24% below 2019, but 31% above 2021. Airline traffic continues to be dominated by US carriers, primarily American Airlines at 26% of our traffic. JetBlue is the #2 carrier in Montego Bay. Delta, then Southwest, and United Airlines rounding out the top 5. Of course, we have other carriers flying to Montego Bay. Montego Bay has a diverse route or set of routes to the country, but this is mainly dominated by US traffic. In fact, over 78% of our traffic this year is from the United States of America, followed by Canada at 10.23% and the UK at 8.51%. Of course, we know that in Europe, there are certain economic challenges and social challenges affecting that region, and we have not seen yet the recovery in European traffic as it was to pre-pandemic levels. In terms of our top routes, the top routes to Montego Bay, New York certainly is #1, and that carries the highest number of passengers to Montego Bay, followed by Atlanta, then Toronto. As you can notice on the Toronto chart, this is comparing us to 2021. We had a very relatively low level of traffic from Toronto, but that is now back. We have all the Canadian carriers flying again to Montego Bay, followed by Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Charlotte, Orlando, Newark, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. Compared to 2019, that blue line is 2022. The green line is 2019. As you can see, we started the year. Of course, there was still Omicron around, and we had a lower level of traffic for the first quarter. And just around the middle of the year in the summer months, we started to see an alignment of the traffic compared to 2019. And that slight increase in traffic compared to 2019 following us for the last quarter of this year. And certainly we see that trend continuing into 2023. In terms of air service development, new routes, we have been very busy. Montego Bay continues to be a destination that is in very high demand. We had a lot of new service, relatively added, especially coming out of the pandemic. Allegiant from Cincinnati, Spirit started service from Philadelphia. American Airlines started flying out of Austin, and Frontier started service out of Tampa. But that trend still continues, and we just welcomed actually last month NEOS from Malpensa, Italy, once weekly. They began in November. Tomorrow we have a special event here again because we now have service from Connecticut with Spirit 4 times weekly commencing tomorrow. Additionally, we will have service from Verona, Italy, again from NEOS, starting in November, and Frontier continues their expansion into Montego Bay. In February 2023, we'll have service from St. Louis, from Denver, which we are very excited about. That brings us further west of the United States than before, and Chicago Midway, all beginning in February of next year. In terms of projects, we have been speaking about the runway extension for quite a while, and this is where we started talking about a concept diagram showing the 408 meters of runway extension, RISA added to the end of both runways, and Kent Avenue, the realignment of Kent Avenue and the new entrance to the JDF IMJet Center just at the flankers intersection. We're now at the stage where we're laying asphalt, so we are well advanced. This project is well underway, on track. The contractor has been performing very well. This is a recent picture of them laying asphalt. We are just about at the intersection of the runway, the eastern end of the runway. And this is showing works continuing in terms of laying of asphalt. This work is being done by Lagan out of the UK. And the overall cost of this project is around $70 million US. It's a project that's being done in collaboration with the government of Jamaica and the Airports Authority of Jamaica, funded by the AIF and managed and implemented by Mbj. Taxiway Echo is another component of this project. We are just about at the stage now where this access road coming from the eastern end of Montego Bay leading into the airport, we'll be laying asphalt there in the next few days. This reopens back the eastern road leading into the airport for the buses and shuttles, and that certainly will help with congestion at the exit of the airport and the general roundabout. The departures expansion is another project that we are very excited about. Today we have a special event after this, so I won't go too deep into this project, but we are really excited that we are now at the end of this project. Really a project that we are very proud of, and I'm sure our concessionaires and our partners are proud of as well in terms of the passenger experience, the improvement in the passenger experience that we're going to offer to our guests. We'll see further on the tour, certainly the new retail offerings that are there, but this program continues, and certainly our passengers are very excited about that. We're also improving the equipment that the airlines use for passenger processing. This picture is showing our new self-service kiosks. We have perhaps the largest deployment of self-service kiosks in the English-speaking Caribbean. 60 of these are now installed in the check-in area, offering passengers the ability to check themselves in and also issue the bag tags. These kiosks are also equipped with biometrics, which is the next step for us in terms of offering passengers a seamless passenger journey. More of that will follow in 2023. The entire airport's equipment, flight information systems, baggage information systems, those have been upgraded, and that project is coming to an end. We just have a few more locations with equipment left to install. Other projects that we are working on, we're replacing all of our gate counters or check-in counters. We have a baggage carousel rehabilitation project that will fully be implemented in next year. The West Concourse rehabilitation is a project that we'll talk a little bit more in these slides. The East Concourse retail area, so our work continues improving the passenger experience on the departures area. Restroom renovation, of course, you can sink or float or excel in terms of the quality of your restrooms. All our restrooms are being upgraded to our new design standard. We started that in 2019 in this departures era, and we are now at the arrivals section. By the end of this year, we should have all of those restrooms open to the new standard. And then finally, we are also constructing an arrivals canopy. This is one of the feedback we have received out from our stakeholders, really to allow for buses and shuttles to be able to pull up to the curb, pick up passengers when we have inclement weather. One of the other projects that we are very excited about is our phase 2 of our solar. We started this in the pandemic in terms of pursuing renewable energy. We have 1 megawatt of solar installed now on the East Concourse. 2 megawatt additional solar PV is being installed in the staff car park. Hopefully, the staff enjoy the benefits of the shaded area as well. But for us, primarily, 2 main goals here. Of course, the move to renewable energy is very important for us, but it's also about reducing our carbon emissions. We're very big on that. Our environmental and safety manager is here. We are ACI Level 1 accredited, pursuing Level 2 accreditation. Our goal with renewables is to see how far we can get to that 100% mark. And next year, we'll be adding another 3 megawatt of solar to the airport, bringing that to just about 6 megawatts in total. In terms of master plan, we begin next year on new phases of the master plan project. This diagram illustrates the main projects that will come on stream shortly. The main one being the Boomerang expansion here in green. This includes the Immigration Hall expansion. Of course, more queue space, more processing capacity for PICA, or outbound security area, or Air Sea Lounge, East Concourse expansion, and the West Concourse renovation. The immigration and outbound security area, which is shown here in green, just about where the I Love Mbj sign is located. That sign will be removed early in the new year, displaced to allow for the construction, and all the internal roads will have to be realigned to facilitate these works. So this is the first phase of the project, the enabling work, which will be this new alignment of the road. Currently, this is where the profile of the building sits at this time. So additional check-in counters, as immigration counters, all the kiosks will be located within the immigration hall. We now have some on the upper level and the lower level, so we'll be consolidating that into this area. Additional queue space, new restroom facilities. Of course, for outbound immigration as well, we're increasing the number of lanes and the amount of queue space that is there for outbound security as well. Other benefits of this project, of course, include this additional departures orientation zone. Certainly we have, Montego Bay is quite unique in that most of our passengers arrive by bus or hotel shuttle. So certainly we're offering an area where they can congregate and enter the building prior to heading to the check-in counter. This is the second level of that expansion. There'll be a new vertical core, elevators, escalators, staircase, carrying you into the immigration hall from the east. And then there'll be a flow of passengers from the west joining in the central area into the queue space. So here you can see this pink area as mentioned is the current building. This is the edge of the building now, and this is what we are adding to the immigration and outbound security area. To achieve that, we have this enabling work, which is what we refer to, starts early in the year. We're in the final stages of selecting a contractor. This is the current road. This will be the rear line road. In addition to this, we are going to remove the service station and the car rentals as they are located today to facilitate more public parking. We know that's one of the demands that we have, and certainly we plan to increase that in the short term. Eventually, all of this leads to the next phase, which will come in shortly after. You can see in very faint lines that we are creating 2 new loops separating inbound and outbound vehicular traffic to the airport, and certainly that will help with congestion. This is showing a rendering of what the exterior of the airport will look like once completed. Again, the goal here is lots of natural light. This is all glass, a glass facade, right? And this is one of the elements that we are incorporating into any new design. These show renderings of the outbound security expansion, the new area where we'll have additional screening equipment added for processing passengers for heading to their gate, the expanded immigration hall, additional space for immigration desks and kiosks, and this is just the arrivals orientation zone. So we're very excited to be starting this project in 2023. The other element that we're working on here is the West Concourse renovation. This is to bring the design of this space in line with the rest of the terminal. Some of it you will see in this central area, and this diagram is not showing what we built, but we'll tour that today. And really, again, bringing this space in line with the design language that we have for the rest of the terminal. Additionally, we'll add a new ramp at gate 6 and 7. We have a major work to do here. We'll be raising the roof on this area, introducing additional seating, and reducing some conflicts with boarding and arriving passengers in this area. And these renderings show what that gate 1 to 7 will look like. Again, a lot of the elements that we're introducing here is to create a sense of place that is uniquely Jamaican. Additionally, we'll be expanding the East Concourse. This is coming after the 2 projects mentioned. There is the expansion to the north and south of the East Concourse. This is leading to gate 19 is just about here. There's an additional project here to add a new vertical core, which will introduce another elevator for passengers with reduced mobility to get to immigration. And this is showing the expanded East Concourse. The goal here is additional seating. We primarily have wide-body aircraft here, 787s, TUI, Virgin, 767s, etc. And the need is there for more seating and more circulation space. This is showing the additional vertical core and the additional elevator which will add some redundancy. And then finally, Air Sea Lounge. Montego Bay has a unique operation in that we have passengers arrive here on flights, bypass our immigration hall completely, exit the terminal airside, and take a bus to board a cruise vessel that is home porting in Montego Bay. One of the things that we found that with the growth in that type of traffic, we had a need for a dedicated lounge for these passengers. So we'll be converting this entire area at the end of the East Coast, where we have the wide body aircraft, into a lounge space, making the processing more comfortable. Passengers will be able to be processed by immigration in this space. Again, the design elements will be updated to our current standards, and then these passengers will be able to exit this lounge directly on a bus and head directly to the cruise ship pier. This project starts in 2023 as well. Again, showing all our design language for the restrooms. Our goal really is to continue to transform Sangster International Airport into a world-class facility. And this is showing a rendering. Again, you'll see the build-out of that new boomerang space. There's a new canopy that will run west from the arrivals to the departures area. And again, that new loop separating departures and arriving traffic. Events and activities. Certainly, while it's important to focus on the airport, the infrastructure, certainly we see ourselves as citizens of Montego Bay. We are very active and have been active with our Labor Day project, working with the White House School. This is located Victory Early Childhood Institution. This is where our Labor Day project, working closely with VIP attractions. We're very excited to assist this school. In fact, just recently, we did a project here, and our push for renewables extended to this school. The school is now fully powered by solar energy.
We have been involved with the White House community for a number of years, and we believe that the community has to be viable for the airport to be viable as well.
So when we heard that Mbj was actually doing a project with the White House Basic School, we took the opportunity to partner with Mbj.
The community engagement really means for us long-term development of the community. Education is key, certainly for the individuals who grow up here, that they will have a long-lasting impact, not just on the community, but on the nation as well.
I'm sure when the children come tomorrow, they will also be grateful because they'll be able to run around on that side, which they were not able to do before. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Additionally, one of the main charity events for this year was our 5K and 10K. Many persons here participated in this event. It was very successful. You can play the clip while the sound is down so we can get through this. But the goal of this project really is to raise money, funds for students, educational grants being provided to students from primary, secondary, and tertiary level. We had just over $4.5 million raised, and shortly we'll be having a scholarship event for these students. This is only the beginning of our efforts in the community. One of the key projects for us that we have initiated this year is to establish what we call the Mbj Foundation. The Mbj Foundation, its efforts will be entirely focused, of course, on community development. The neighboring communities of White House and flankers those are our closest communities, but certainly the wider Montego Bay community as well, in terms of three main projects. Dwayne, if you could skip to the next slide. Three main projects will be the focus of the Mbj Foundation. Come back here. Firstly, the goal is to establish a skills training and development program. We are in advanced discussions with HEART NTA to establish a training center right here at the airport, offering skills training for members of the community in a variety of areas. Our goal is not just to equip persons to work here at the airport, but also we believe that if we give back to the community and those persons develop their skills, they will have lifelong impact on the wider community. In terms of educational development, we are in very close, perhaps we are at the final stages of a concept or project that will see the addition of a new early childhood facility in our neighboring community as well. This is something that we are very proud of, and certainly we are looking for the participation of the wider airport community as this evolves. And one of the main pillars of our strategy next year is to encourage a hospitality class service being provided to our passengers. We could almost call our passengers our guests. We want the experience to be stress-free, enjoyable, memorable, and seamless. With us today is our coordinator of our CX experience. I'm going to ask her to stand. Alexia. You will notice she's wearing a yellow jacket, very nicely tailored, with a special logo, Mbj CX. And all our customer service agents and reps and members of this team will have these bright yellow jackets. Maybe we will call them the yellow jackets informally. You would like her to come to the front. Alexia, please join me. Certainly, the trend in airports is always to operate as a transportation center. We want it to be more than that. We want it to be hospitality class, almost as if you're on vacation in a hotel. What is the service that you would expect? So, soaring beyond expectations is the brand statement. One of the features for 2023 is that all airport staff will receive customer experience training as part of the requirement to get their app. So we believe that it's not just the customer service rep, it's everybody in the customer journey, everybody at a touch point needs to provide that exceptional level of service. This will launch in 2023. And our customer service team, they call themselves the C-SWAT. They've given themselves this acronym, Customer Service Willing Available Team. So thank you, Alexia. I'm looking for more of this in 2023. And finally, as mentioned, 15 years we have won this award. In 2022, we were again recipient of the Caribbean's leading airport, Sangster International Airport. We could not have done that without you. A round of applause to all our stakeholders. I want to use this opportunity as we end the year to thank all our Mbj staff who remain committed to success. I also want to thank those in our airport community who continue to work with us hand in hand to improve the quality of service we provide to our passengers. If we offer excellence in passenger experience, Jamaica has a competitive advantage in our people and culture that will allow us to be ranked best in the world. We look forward to the exciting outlook for Sangster International Airport for 2023. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometime in the 1990s, I was passenger on a bus and it was traveling along the top road. And another passenger blurted, "Sifar in there?" Now, if that was the perception in the 1990s, what is it today? And what will it be in a few years' time? Mr. CEO, I thank you for a most comprehensive update on all good that is happening here at the Sangster International Airport. I want to remind the audience that you may submit your questions on WhatsApp at the number 589-7525. That's 589-7525. Mr. Minister, are you ready? I now invite Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Transport and Mining, for his address.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman, or Chairperson. And you know, I told her that red is not one of my favorite colors, but I made an exception with her. All right, back to the script. The Honorable Custos Rotalorum for St. James, Bishop Conrad Pitkin, His Worship, the Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Leroy Williams, Mr. Mark Hart, the Chairman of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, Mr. Is it Audley or Audley? Mr. Audley Diedrich, the President of the Airports Authority of Jamaica, and of course, our Chief Executive of the Mbj Airports Limited, who just spoke a while ago, members of the board of the AHA, and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. In my short presentation, I just want to say that next month will make it 1 year that I've been Minister of Transport and Mining, And before that, I've been through, about 7 subjects. 6 years in finance and the public service, 4 years industry investment, commerce, agriculture, fisheries, and now I'm in transport and mining. And I just want to say that before I came to see all of this, that I want to report to you that I had the pleasure of visiting the parent company for the Montego Bay and now Kingston Norman Manley Airport. I visited the parent company. GAP is the easiest way to describe it, but otherwise, GAP means Grupo Airporturo Pacifico, right? I hope I did all right. And I visited Mexico and saw 3 of the airports that they run over there. I did that visit in November. I had a little issue, so I spent the first night in the hospital. But God is good, and I'm here with you. But then I got to see Mexico Hospital, you know. So, so I can share some information with the Minister of Health, right? But I really want to say that I'm so happy that I visited the GAP headquarters in Mexico and looked at several of their airports, and to see the high quality performance. And when I then sat down there and listened to this presentation, that's why when the chairperson wanted me to speak before, I refused, because I wanted to see our president's presentation, right? And by the way, let us congratulate him on becoming the local leader of this company. Yes, stand up. We are proud of you. Proud of you. Proud of you. When I was a young boy, my mother told me, and my twin sister, yes, I'm a twin. Fortunately for my twin sister, we are not identical. but my mother told me and Audrey and Audrey, she said, in the pursuit of excellence, one person can make a difference. Then she said, go to the mirror and say, in the pursuit of excellence, I will make a difference. Well, I can put that now to the head of this Mbj Airport. Proud of you. And I'm proud of the company that we are doing business with. I'm proud of GAP. And because they have been now here in Montego Bay for 19 years, and they have just started at the Norman Manley International Airport. And when I saw the presentation of the president and saw the final image of the overall improvement, I said to myself, very good, because this looks like the airports I visited in Mexico. Very good. So I just want to say that this is a great partnership. And one of the things, close to the end of your presentation, you know, the chairperson wanted me to speak before you. But I wanted to hear your presentation. And part of that presentation that I am totally inspired by is the fact that the company is pursuing excellence in trying to help developing our workers, right? And also spending time in some of our communities trying to help develop our people. Let's congratulate them, please. Please. Human productivity is a very, very important thing for human development. And one of the problems we have in Jamaica is a crisis of human underdevelopment. So thank you for what you're doing. So I want to say also that I'm very proud of the fact that we established some years ago an airport improvement fund. And that comes from a small fee on the tickets. This airport improvement fund is being used now for the extension of the runway. And that airport improvement fund, by the way, we're not borrowing any money to do that runway. We are going to take 70 million United States dollars from that airport improvement fund to finance the extension of the runway here in Montego Bay. And I'm very proud of that, to know that when that runway is finished, we'll be able to bring in larger planes from many planes, like from the Far East, the Middle East, all over the world. And then guess what Jamaica can become? Jamaica can become not just as a place for tourism, but we can become a transport center, a network in this region, where people who want to go to Central and South America and some other areas in the Caribbean, don't tell anybody I say this, but they don't have to necessarily go to Miami. They can come to Jamaica, right? Don't tell Mr. Biden I said this, okay? Right? So I really want to say that this is how I will end. I am very pleased with this partnership that we have with GAP. Very pleased with it. And I want you all, including Carlos, his last name is a little bit challenging, so I just call him Carlos for now. Carlos, stand up, please. He's from Mexico. Yes? Carlos, please convey to the leaders of this company the fact that we are proud of this partnership. You've been here for 19 years, and now you've taken over Norman Manley International Airport, and we are looking forward to seeing tremendous and equal expansion in Kingston. And we're also going to do the necessary work to complete the work on the runway and the other facilities there that will be part of the government's initiative. We are working on that as well. So God bless all of you, and I have really enjoyed this presentation. Blessings always.
Thank you, Minister Shaw, for a very spirited address. At this time, we'd like to pause for a special presentation. Mr. Tony Atkinson has been in the aviation industry since the 1960s. And next week, he will take a step back from it all. And we just want to pause to recognize his stellar career, not just with MBJ, but in other companies at the airport. And I invite you to turn your attention to the video screen where Mr. Atkinson will give a synopsis of his time at the airport. Mr. Atkinson, I'll also invite you to join me on stage.
The love for the airport goes beyond the point of when I started working here. When I attended high school here in Montego Bay, after school I used to walk out here just to see what was happening at the airport. And I visited the control tower at 9 years old. And the love continues, the meeting the people, and being given the opportunity to travel basically over the world. I started out at the airport in 18th of November 1968 with the then CAD, who was the operator of the airport at the time. That is the Civil Aviation Department. That department is now the JCAA. I was with them up until 1974 when the Airports Authority took over the airport, and I was seconded to the Airports Authority. And I stayed with them until 2003 when MBJ took over the airport. I started out at the fire service over there, went through the ranks, and was the chief fire officer up until 1995. Promoted to safety and security manager in 1996 and to operations manager in 1998. Went over to MBJ, and in MBJ I held 7 different positions. I started out as a training consultant, training the fire service and all the staff at the airport in airside safety and security. Then I was appointed terminal safety manager. From there, I was appointed manager engineering and maintenance. Then airside, terminal and airside operations manager. Then deputy director of operations. Then deputy chief operations officer. And finally, I was advisor to the CEO in airport operations and HR, Human Resource Development. The airport has evolved maybe 10-fold or more. What is now the West Concourse, from counter 1 to 100, that was the airport. It housed the ticketing area, the departure concourse, immigration and customs. That was the airport. In 1978, they did some extension, which the area that now houses MBJ's administrative office and downstairs, that went on in 1978. And then in 1992, the front section of the departure area went on. And then, you know, from 2003 up to 2005, 2006, the West Concourse went in. So it has evolved tremendously. Tourism is the heartbeat of Jamaica. And the airport is the point. Where the passenger comes in and where the passenger leaves. And the impression that is given, first impression and the last impression, you know that that is what counts. And the airport, that is what the airport does. It gives the first impression and it gives the last.
We have to big up Jamaica and big up to all the people who really make Jamaica look good. It feels nice coming back to Jamaica.
So the airport has been and will continue to play a significant role in the development of this country, since tourism is the heartbeat of this country. The wish for the nation is that Jamaica will continue to grow despite what is happening, because it's happening worldwide. But Jamaica will continue to grow. And at some day, maybe I'll not be around, but at some day Jamaica will the county as a first world country.
What a career, Mr. Atkinson. We salute you and we wish you all the best. I'll ask I'll ask the minister to make a presentation to Mr. Atkinson on our behalf. Thank you. Comprehensively delivered, Mr. Monroe and others. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for spending some of your time with us this afternoon, and have yourself a wonderful rest of the afternoon. Good evening.